I just got the signal that we are live on AM 1030, The Voice, trusted local news and talk, and Facebook Live. Just go to AM 1030. What is it? Oh, it's 1030 The Voice on
it's
Facebook.
Actually, YouTube Live.
Is there an
Oh,
at?
it's YouTube Live.
Ooh,
Even better.
YouTube. Wow.
Hi, guys. Hi, YouTube. I made you such a great lunch today because it's lunchtime. I have one of the finest chefs in the world. And he's really a chef to the world because through his work at Canyon Ranch, not only is executive chef Russell Michel somebody who welcomes guests from around the world, but in his collaboration and partnership with the Cunard line, he prepares recipes and develops food programming and communicating the thought and idea of the Canyon Ranch edible experience for guests circumnavigating the world on the Cunard lines ships. So you are truly a chef of the world.
Well, I'm a humble man, but I love what I do, and to be able to touch people from all over the world and share with them through experience, through consumption and flavors, and teasing the entire palate and creating a palate memory so that they can take that back home and continue that path of just eating healthy, eating to live.
Sense memory.
Absolutely.
So, welcome. It's lunchtime. This is Around the Table, live from the City of Gastronomy, where each and every day we invite the most interesting and influential tastemakers, newsmakers, style makers, movers and shakers, foodies and friends, and healers to join us around our table for a conversation about the delicious world of food, culture, and entertainment in the Old Pueblo and elsewhere. And so for today, we're in stone fruit season. I love, of all the fruit I'll take that back. I love, as a native New Englander, I love crisp apple season when the Macintosh and the Braeburns and the Spartans are really like tart and crispy. But I don't love it more than this. I love stone fruit season. I'm a stone fruit season baby. I'm born in June. So for me, this is like the food of my people.
I love working with stone fruit as well because it has this beautiful sun-drenched flavor, the sweetness of the fruit. And tomatoes, just so everyone knows, it is a fruit,
right?
In case there's a question there.
So that is, in fact, a fruit salad that I've made.
It is a fruit salad, yes, with delicious licorice essence, basil, and salt and pepper. It's absolutely beautiful.
And what I do with this is different depending on what I'm serving it with. If I'm serving this with a protein like a grilled salmon, that's going to have a natural sweetness to it and then a nice savory note from the fat in the belly of the salmon that I'm going to grill, and then it's going to get that nice crisp and char on the skin so that you're getting that little salmon chicharron around the edges of the grilled salmon. I serve this in its most savory form with a little bit of olive oil and a drizzle of balsamic vinegar. I might even, dare I say, because I know people don't believe you should put fish and cheese together, but I might even add a little bit of fresh mozzarella with this particular combination. Really brightens it up, makes it creamy, everything's delicious.
You can also make it velvety and take your fresh fruit and blend it with the same elements, and you create a clean coulis or glaze.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
That's the voice of Michelle Cardenas. She is our co-host every Friday here as we welcome you. She is the founder of Brightway Wellness, a Reiki master. She's on the board of the International BioTouch Foundation, as is we've talked about before. She's somebody who comes here and helps us in our journey of healing every week. And so literally we have such a jam-packed and fun-filled show. We are live. Been out on a little bit of a summer vacation, but we're back in the studio. Got a big week. We've got a giant week next week. And we're trying to talk Chef into coming and visiting with us a little more. He's thinking about coming more regular.
Good. I would love that.
Because this is fun having him here.
I love talking about food and how food is healing.
I like talking about food too.
And that's why
and
we're
I like
here.
eating food. Yeah.
So we were talking, Chef, on the drive over with the little bit of hungry that we have. And if you're hungry and you want to join us, you want to see what we're having. And by the way, we have gorgeous cherries, which are stone fruits. They're not in our salad. I have whole peaches. And I've got this beautiful basil that we're just going to keep going all season. Because this goes so well with almost all these flavors. Put a little in our tea today as well. These are all flavors that can go into a bubbly water. These are all flavors that can go in a mix. I feel like this is edible granimals. Like almost everything they say, if it grows together, it goes together. I kind of am feeling and sensing that these are flavors and things that really do naturally go together. A nice tea that goes with any of these fruits. They can absorb and take on some of the character of the fruit. It can take on the character of the basil as a garnish. I mean, these are things that if we sat here, we could come up with some fun things.
Absolutely. You know, with this salad alone, you have the delicious sweetness of the fruit. And the idea behind creating cuisine is really creating layers of experience.
Yeah.
So the entire palate is teased. Here you have the sweetness of the fruit, and then you have the licorice flavor of the basil, and it hits the basil hits the side of the palate, and it's quite fun to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. You know, Apple Annie's right now is having peach picking season.
I had heard this.
It is fun, and it's a great thing to do with families, and then you can go home and make beautiful dishes like this.
What's your favorite thing to make with peaches, Chef?
A peach crumble.
Yeah.
And just take the peaches. If you don't like the skin, you can peel the skin off. But it's very good for the body.
Too.
I do too, because it also has a lot of nutrients and vitamins, minerals in the skin.
Yeah.
So then just slice them up, toss them with some microplane. You can get a microplane at any store, and just microplane orange zest, and a little cinnamon, a little bit of brown sugar, a little hint of salt, because we don't use a lot of salt, and the natural juices from the peaches will come out with the citrus, and you bake it with a little bit of a crumble on top, flour, butter, sugar, and salt. Very simple.
What's your favorite crumble recipe? I didn't hear you mention oats in that.
Well, I was going to.
Oh.
Because oats are
I was
also good for the
impatient. I
body.
apologize.
That's okay.
It just sounded
That's
so
okay.
good already.
But oats, of course. And then you could also use hemp seed, chia seed. You can use all the super seeds, flax seed. So then that way you've really got a power-packed crumble on top of this delicious, warm peach. And you can also put a little bit of vanilla bean ice cream on
I
there.
was just going to add. Yeah.
I know
now you're
you-
talking my
you love
language.
the ice cream. The other thing, having a long history with pies, you know, I was a judge in the national. We have so much to cover. I was a judge in the National Pie Championships down in Celebration, Florida.
That's awesome.
We'll talk about this
Yeah.
another day.
I
I have my pie street cred. That's all I can tell you. But one of the best pies I've ever eaten is a peach pie with just a kiss of star anise in it, so that when the bake in the two crust pie and a really traditional buttery, flaky pie crust pie, that little hint of that enchanting star anise. And a star anise is one of those funny little seeds that comes in the form of what can only be described as a star shape, and inside the actual star husk hull exterior of the star anise are these small, almost apple seed looking like seeds, but I just drop the whole thing in and then I take the whole thing out, because that one or two at the core of the pie for me, some people grate it, some people microplane it, some people use a powdered version. I like to use the bits or whole and let it infuse.
Yes, I like to use the whole star anise as well, because that way you can take it out. Because if you leave it in, sometimes that could be an surprise when you're eating.
Yes.
But also, it's a great aromatic.
Yeah, it
And
really is.
And I said this before when I was on a couple of weeks ago, that 70% of taste is aroma. So anything you add, like even the citrus zest, the aromatic of the star anise, cinnamon, those are all aromatics that really accentuate the positive in flavor expression.
We are going to have such a fun show today. Do you know who's coming in to see us today?
I don't know. Let us know.
The vintage oracle herself, Rianne Maldonado's here, and her husband is coming to see us today. Do you know what they
Fantastic.
did this week? Did you? I know we were talking about not watching the news a lot. They had a brush with the kind of experience that could turn very easily into a movie. Imagine going to the Goodwill or the Salvation Army or the First Rate Secondhand Thrift Store or the Sal Point Thrift Store, or any of them, and you buy something and you find somebody's prized possession. And you knew it was so precious to somebody that they had to have mistakenly disposed of this. This is something so prized and so important. Nobody could have intentionally given this away to the thrift store. What would you do? What would you do if you found something that you really, and that you held it in your hands and you go, the energy of this isn't mine. Somebody needs to get this back. What would you do?
I'd have to research and find the source of where it belongs, so that that emotional connection goes back to where it
Right.
belongs, and that person gets it.
You can't have peace until you
Mhm.
can rest, and you
Mhm.
can't rest until you make this right.
Absolutely.
All right, Bob's got his hand up. Bob never raises his hand. Bob, I've missed you.
Hi,
Thank
Bob.
you. I ran into that situation. You know, I was in the demolition business for
Right.
15 years. We found a glass jar with a piece of paper in it and little knickknacks that just happened to fall out of a corner of a block, concrete block building, right? It just fell out, didn't break.
Like time capsule style?
Oh, wow.
Homemade style, right?
Wow.
Worker brings it to me and I'm looking at it and I realize there's a number of like names of people with numbers by them and the Lord's Prayer at the top. And the numbers obviously were their ages. It just so happened to be the Tang family, very well-known family here in Tucson. Anyway, I called them and said, I don't know if this means anything, but did you ever own a building at such and such? And they said, yes. Why? I said, I found the jar you put there in 1964.
Oh,
and
my
it
God.
was
Oh, my God.
It made
I
the
just
front
got
page of the
goosebumps.
paper.
That's crazy.
That's
That's
awesome.
That's
really
incredible.
cool.
And you know what? I wonder if Liz Tang probably still has that on her desk.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the kind of thing you'd keep.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
What would you do, Michelle, if you found something like that?
I would definitely do as Rianne and Emilio did, and I would search for that person, because it doesn't mean anything to me, but I know that it means something to the family.
We're getting ready to take our first break, and as we get ready to kick off this show today, and as we wrap up this first segment and get ready to head into our first break, I'm going to invite you to do what you do when you say what you say to get us all in the place where we need to be just for today.
Just for today. Okay. Close your eyes and just go with me. Just for today, I will not worry. I will trust. Just for today, I will not anger. I will love. Just for today, I will do my work honestly and with integrity. Just for today, I will be kind to all living things, including myself. Just for today, I will have the attitude of gratitude. Just for today.
And just for today, we're going to take a very quick break. You are here. This is Around the Table, live from the City of Gastronomy on AM 1030 The Voice. Trusted local news and talk. Join us on YouTube Live. We are live right this minute, right this second. You can come and visit and watch with us. We love having you here with us. The Maldonados are up next to talk about their adventure this week. And I have to tell you, I'm a fifth generation go to the thrift store hunting for treasure kind of a person. I don't know that I've ever had this experience, but it makes me ask the question. And I want to hear from you out there at 520-790-2040. What if you've already found somebody's treasure? What if you found something and you didn't realize it was priceless or precious? How many times have you gone to a yard sale and walked off with something that you think is just one thing, but is in fact something even more wonderful and precious? What is your best find ever? 520-790-2040. We'll be back with more right after this. It is a lovely day. It's hot, but it's lovely. I am so happy to be here with you and have you here with us. This is Around the Table, live from the City of Gastronomy. We are hosting a luncheon, which we do each and every single day during the week, Monday through Friday. And we welcome you here to our test kitchens at the studios of radio station AM 1030. My mind is going, Hal. How did you do that? That was wonderful. So every day we invite the most interesting and influential people to come and hang out with us and have lunch with us. In the guest co-host seat today, my friend, Chef Russell Michelle. He's the executive chef at Canyon Ranch.
Good afternoon.
He's been in town a little while. He was the chef at our club at the La Paloma and the Hotel Westin La Paloma for quite some time.
Yeah.
And he has got this extraordinary new venture that is tickling his creativity and taunting us to come out and make a visit. They've got an amazing program where locals can come and hang out for the day, and they make it really attractive for us to go and experience what the rest of the world knows, which is one of the greatest spas in the world is right in our midst. Sometimes when something is so close to us, we don't realize what we have, and it's hopeful on our part that everybody will come and experience it for themselves. Chef, welcome.
It's really important. Thank you very much. It's important that we all take care of ourselves. And Canyon Ranch has the offer out there for our locals to come in and experience Canyon Ranch and a spa day, and then have a taste of our wholesome lunch. This fresh ingredients, and you will taste the difference. I promise you that. Everything's handcrafted, made from scratch, and we are using presently 7 local farms with our farm fresh produce, and all 100% natural protein. And you just can't get a better product in town.
No.
There's great restaurants in town. You have to taste the flavors from Canyon Ranch.
Yes, you do.
It's a must. And take care of yourself. Get a spa day.
Yes.
You deserve it.
Michelle from Brightway Wellness is here, and our good friends, the Maldonados, are in the studio with us. The Vintage Oracle herself is here, Rianne Maldonado, who, along with her husband, has had a very exciting
busy
week.
week.
You've had
Yeah.
a busy, exciting week. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Emilio, how
Hello.
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Listen, I'm extraordinarily proud of you. I don't even know how to set up the story. We kind of teased it in the first segment where we were talking about you guys being approached. Now, did you
No.
you found it yourselves?
No.
How did this
Let
happen?
me tell you, I was driving down the road with all my little kids in the back seat yelling and being noisy, listening to the radio, and I heard about this Purple Heart that was found by an employee at the Goodwill.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's been found about a month ago, and they were, looking for the family to give it to. And I called Emilio and I said, we have to do this right now. And we dropped everything and we got on it. That was 10 in the morning. And by 3:30 the afternoon, we were knocking on their door.
Wow. So we should tell people that, in fact, you both are principals of a company. It's called Black Horse Investigations.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And you're a private detective, very much like our own Tucson Heart to Heart, right? Like, I love this
Correct.
husband and wife
Yeah.
detective team.
Yeah.
They're glamorous, they're sexy, they're very smart, they're really kind, they're fun, and they get the job done. So this is really intriguing to me. How do you go from a lost item in literally the Goodwill Lost and Found to a happy reunion in less than 6 hours?
Fortunately, while they were running the story in the news, they showed a picture of the metal itself, and it had a name on it. It had Nick D'Amelio Jr. And so I started doing a little bit of digging, and then Rianne did a ton of research on genealogy, family trees, and she was able to locate what we thought was the closest living relative to this person.
We probably made 15 phone call messages for people that didn't answer the phone, sent a few text messages.
Yeah, and it really was a rewarding case for us because this young man was 18 or 19 years old. He was on the USS Little during World War II.
Wow.
So 1942, his ship got shot basically to pieces by the Japanese, sunk, and he was basically lost at sea.
And he was awarded this medal posthumously.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
A year later,
Mhm.
once they declared him missing in action and they couldn't find him, he was awarded this Purple Heart in 1943 posthumously.
So we are talking about a true lost American hero.
Absolutely.
And the trail was hard, challenging, because Nicholas D'Amelio, he was the son of a first marriage. And then the mother remarried and then went on and on and on and on down the line. So we really had to do a lot of intense sleuthing to match it up to find the family here in town. And we ended up knocking on the door and met the family, and they are fantastic people.
How did
What
you
an incredible
know?
experience.
Did you know that it was a Tucson family because
No,
the item was
no.
found? It could have gone
It could
anywhere.
have gone anywhere. We
You could
did
have
not
gone
know
anywhere with
Mhm.
this. So
We
what's
didn't
the
know.
likelihood that this thing ends up in town by itself?
Yeah, but the family's all here, and the Nicholas D'Amelio's mom passed away here, and so her children are here. Children. Yeah. Anyway, the whole family is here, and they're fantastic people.
I love this story, and it's been in the news.
Mhm.
And what's happened to you guys since? Let's talk about that because it's such a feel-good story.
Yeah, this was actually nationwide. All over social media, everybody was trying to find this person's family.
Mhm.
And just this morning, you know, of course, once we figured out whose it was and everything, we notified the Goodwill. We notified an organization called Purple Hearts Reunited, and of course the family, and we got them all together. Well, U.S. Senator McSally also got involved, and there was a ceremony today where they were awarded or given back the medal by Martha McSally.
And the
Fantastic.
young gentleman that found the medal, he got to transfer it over to the family. It's on Facebook for all the news channels, so you have to check it out. It's really
It's very special.
Yeah.
When you started your detective business and investigation business, did you think that this was the kind of thing that would happen? Have you heard about things like this before? Is this part of the dream that you had?
We always wanted to do feel-good stories. He's always said to me, I want to do cold cases, missing person files. I want to help people.
Yeah,
Always.
and that's what makes the job fun. You know, we can find people who owe somebody money and the person wants to sue them and serve them papers. They're not a lot of fun, but when we get to do something that truly, I mean, we are keeping this person's name alive.
Wow.
In the community, in his family. It really does feel good.
When you make an impact on someone's life, like reuniting a family, you know, we've done that too.
So what's going to happen the next time you walk into an antique store or a thrift store? How do you not look around a store now and think, wow,
Right?
this is a store filled with items that belong?
Yeah, memories, spirit, important pieces of history.
In fact, today, the marketing director for Goodwill told me that this is actually an occurrence, a regular occurrence. Maybe not
All the
super
time.
regular, but just a few years ago, they also had a Purple Heart. They, were searching for family as well. She also said she's got an entire bag full of dog tags
Oh,
that belong to people.
I didn't hear
And
that.
so, yeah, it's unfortunate, but it does feel good to bring these things to families.
All right, so my mind, I don't know if you guys are with me on this, my mind is racing right now with all of these connections.
I have to ask you a question.
You have to.
Please share with us what it felt like when you got the message that you found the person.
Oh my gosh. Well, and it wasn't a message. What it was is we were knocking on the door. We heard the dog barking and Amelia was like, there's nobody home. I'm like, oh no, they're in there. We're going to knock again. And then they opened the door and we explained and they didn't. It was a visiting family member who was in the house at the moment, and they didn't really know what was going on, but they had received a phone message from us a couple of hours ago and thought it was a scam. So they did research on us, and they had a picture of us on their phone. So the moment we knocked on their door, like our hearts had been racing.
Yeah.
And honestly, as we were driving down the freeway to get to their house, I had these visions that like the media would already be there, and here, no, it was crickets. It was us. And they opened the door and they gave us a hug and invited us in and we had coffee and now we have like lifelong friends.
That's
This has been the most
fantastic.
magical event ever.
And you're and we should tell people you are in the business of magic.
I am. And oh, Jennifer, oh my gosh. I felt the mother's presence the whole time. I know she had me hear that message more than once on the radio so that I would call him and we would get started. And then when I was in their house and I asked to see a photo of her, I could feel her. I could feel her there, and I knew that she was guiding us along the way. And then even the next day, as we were kind of waiting for things to unfold, because at first we didn't want to share the family's information. We were waiting for them to do that. But I was upstairs, and it was a quiet moment in the house, and I was just thinking of her over and over in my head and saying her name. And then I walked down the stairs, and Emilio had just been on the phone with the family. Like, I just know she's been 100% orchestrating this whole entire thing. There was some coincidences with the family as well that they even said, Mom is here right now.
Yeah. Emilio, does this make you want to do more of these kinds of things? Like, how would you go about finding more families? Would we say, call right now, 520-790-2040, call the station. Have you got something that you've lost? Have you got something that you want to find? Is that why people call investigators?
I hope we get more.
Yes, they do feel good to do. There aren't a lot of cases out there like this, though. You hear about them. You hear about them all the time. People go missing or there's cold cases that are out there. that haven't been solved. And me being an investigator and loving what I do, I want to help. But the reality is that a lot of those cases take a lot of time
And resources.
And this was just, you want to talk about magic?
This was magic.
It sounds like, oh yeah, we just did a little Google search and then
No.
we found family. The truth is, this is an exceptional synchronicity.
It absolutely was. Every step of the way was a synchronicity. Every door we turned to, every lead we looked at, everything just, it worked for us. You know, and there was some stopping points in the genealogy where I think a lot of investigators stopped there because the names didn't make sense anymore. But we kept digging until we came to a brother. And that is what led us to the sister whose house we knocked on the door of.
Wow.
I have a feeling Mom wasn't going to let you stop anyway.
No, she wasn't. No. She wasn't. And I feel like she's with us now. I feel like I know her.
We want to remind everybody that Rian Maldonado has a beautiful business that's recently opened up, and we want to talk a little bit about that because it sounds like it should be. We're in the business of reuniting. It's much more holistic than that. Talk about Shy Moon.
Okay, so for a long time I've been trying to incorporate all of my all of my passions into one thing, and that's really hard to do, except I think we figured it out. So the investigative side of me goes along with the tarot reader side of me. So we opened our center where we have Black Horse Investigations in one half, and on the other half, we have the tarot reader, Reiki master, and we just combine it all in one place, and there we are. And I love, I've kind of done the spin with the Reiki where I really want to market to pregnant women and new mothers. They go through a lot
you're the mother of 5.
I am the mother of 5, and the pregnant body goes through a lot of changes and needs a lot of nurturing. And I have a lot of experience in education in postpartum and pregnancy field. But my love of investigating and my love of using the tarot to investigate life and investigate our spirits and our souls and our path, it just all kinds of meshes together.
Now, I'm going to ask this question, and it's not asked or intended in any political way. When you are working with a pregnant mother and you're tapping in to all that energy and all that spirit, are you experiencing the spirit of both the mother and the child? The mother, the child, and the ancestor? What do you get?
For me, and it will be different for everyone, I do feel that the energy working with a pregnant woman is magnified very much. And I do feel that you can send energy and communicate with the unborn baby and get feelings from them. And if you can heal the mom, help the mom heal, you will benefit the baby. It's very, very important to work on that relationship.
We're going to have some of our summer fruit salad with those wonderful sliced tomatoes, sliced peaches, basil, salt, pepper, a little kiss of this and that, certainly made with love. Stone fruit season is upon us. We are here. This is AM 1030 The Voice, trusted local news and talk. You are listening to Around the Table, live from the City of Gastronomy. We'll be back with more right after this, and we will have a special blessing all the way from Hawaii. Welcome back, everybody. This is Around the Table, live from the City of Gastronomy at the radio studios and test kitchens of AM 1030 The Voice, KVOI. Right now, you can go to YouTube and go to YouTube Live, and you can go to 1030 The Voice and join us. We're there. We would welcome you. And we have this really, I feel funny saying this because I made it, but I made a little salad and it's kind of tasty.
It's delicious.
Anyway.
It's very fresh.
So my friend, executive chef, Russell Michelle, is in the studio with us from Canyon Ranch.
It's great to be here.
I'm so happy you're here. We have got a lot going on today. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening in the world. Our good friends, the Maldonados, are here, telling us the story of how they reunited a World War II era, posthumously awarded Purple Heart Medal with the family all these years later. Remarkable story on its own until you realize it happened by way of a goodwill. Why do you suspect that people go to Goodwill stores? I know it's lots of different reasons. How many of you have ever been caught? Because Michelle from Brightway Wellness is here. You and I have gone thrift store hunting together.
Yes, I love thrift stores.
Right.
They're fun. I love the history behind stuff.
Are you ever, and you have gifts that you have healing gifts, you're a Reiki master. We're talking with Rhiannon Maldonado. She's riding down the street. She has her radio on. She hears the story of how the metal's found. It speaks to her. How do we listen differently? How do we tune in differently? How do we get to that place where we know that we're the one who becomes the conduit? How, when I'm just listening, just like everybody else, do I hear something different than everybody else? How was it, Rhiannon, that you heard something different than all the other thousands of people listening to that radio station that day?
Magic. She was speaking to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to hear it.
It felt like she was speaking to you?
I didn't know it at the time, but looking back, because I heard it once. I'm out just running errands like a normal day.
You got kids in the
doing
car.
Mom stuff. I heard it once on the way to taking my son to the college. And I'm like, oh, that's fascinating. And then I heard it again. And it was, what are the chances that day I wasn't listening to kid music? Like I was supposed to hear it. Yeah, it wasn't an accident.
How do you listen with the intention to hear those things? Is that something that you can flip a switch, or is it just something that happens because that's the right way to listen and how we should all be listening all the time? Or am I misunderstanding how this all happens?
Well, I think some of us have an intuitive nature that's a little bit stronger than others. So like Rhiannon just has that in her being.
Yeah.
But those of us who don't have that as a natural sort of thing, is we can cultivate it. We can bring it forth. We all have intuition. I think being present and being in the now and listening, like truly listening with your ears, listening and taking in that information like Rhiannon did, and then something clicked and she picked up on that. But that's because she's present. If you're thinking about things in the past or what I'm going to be doing in the future instead of being present, see, she was driving. You have to be present when you're driving. So she was present at that moment. So she was open to receiving that information instantly because that's her nature anyway.
Talk to me about the notion of listening and intuition. How is it that we listen with our intuition? Or do we listen and it triggers our intuition?
I think it can be either way, because intuition is your internal voice, is your internal knowing. And sometimes it is triggered by outside sources, but sometimes it just comes
like a feeling.
Exactly.
Sometimes it just gets a feeling.
Can I tell you what the feeling was that when we were talking about the metal and how the Maldonados went on a hunt for the owner of the metal? Chef, do you know what I kept thinking about? I kept thinking about lost recipes.
Oh,
and connecting lost recipes back to their families.
That's beautiful.
Well, I have a lost recipe of the Charo black beans I can't find. Can someone find that for me?
Who's back from the El Charo?
No, Charo beans.
Oh, Charo beans.
I made it up a couple of years ago, and I can't find it, so I have to recreate it.
Oh, no.
that's
So if someone can find that out for me, I'd really appreciate it.
get on that, Renee.
I know some local investigators.
Oh, yes. I do too now.
That's very funny.
I have to share with you, the same thing happened to me. This is in California before I moved here several years ago. But I was driving to work one day, and our little dog passed away, and it's been about a month. And so I was just driving to downtown Sacramento, and I heard a voice in my right ear. Well, there was no one else in the car, and so this probably happens to more of us than we were willing to admit, right? So I just drove, and I ignored it, and I went to work. So the next day I was off work and just relaxed. I was just driving around. Same voice, same ear, and it sounded like my mother's voice.
Oh, wow.
And so the voice said, go to the shelter, and Ace was our dog. Ace entered a dog at the shelter. And in all honesty, I did an eye roll. And then I said, okay, well, I'll play. And so I get off the road, and of course, what was the next exit?
The shelter exit.
That I didn't know existed. And I got off the freeway, and then I went to the shelter. I just went right to it like I've been there before. And then, so I go inside. I didn't know what to do because I'd never been to a shelter before. And I walk up, I asked, and they said, just sign in and then walk to the back. And if you find a dog, just let us know. So I walk down and I passed the first 2 cages or pins. And then I stopped at the third one and there was a dog named Wesley and Lhasa Apso mix. And Ace was a Lhasa Apso. And I looked down and I said, Wesley. And he looked at me and put his head back down. And Ace was a really fun dog and had a little attitude. And he would like that sneeze whenever he didn't like something. So I was bothering him because he was trying to take a nap. And then he just looked up at me and went, sneezed. And I thought that was just a coincidence. So I got him and held him. And he fell in love with me. And we've had Wesley for over 6 years. But he has so many similarities to Ace. That it's remarkable. But if it wasn't present at that moment and listened to that voice, even though I didn't listen the first time, it came back to me the second time. I listened, and then if I didn't listen, we wouldn't have Wesley in our home today.
Wow.
Good for
So
you.
I'm thankful for that.
Wow.
And we talk about that on this show all the time, that the universe knocks and we don't often listen the first time. So it knocks a little louder and again and again. And that's how it was with me in the radio the other day. I had to hear the
Absolutely.
message twice to go, okay, we got to do it. Like you and your dog. Your mom sent you the
Absolutely.
dog.
Yeah, it's amazing. And, just have to say that the one part of me, I am so thankful to be part of Canyon Ranch as the food element, but we have spiritual awareness and spiritual healing. And there's so many facets to what we do at Canyon Ranch that it really is a one-stop shop. And and you can go there for any certain reason that you desire.
We are talking with executive chef Russell Michelle from Canyon Ranch, Tucson, Arizona. And you are listening to Around the Table, live from the City of Gastronomy, where we welcome the world's most interesting and influential tastemakers, newsmakers, style makers, movers and shakers, healers, foodies, and friends each and every day. Michelle, I'm going to have you and our friend Amelia do a switcheroo, because we're going to do something really interesting next. Amelia, don't go away. I want you to go honey up with your girl. Come share a seat with her. What we're going to do next is tap into the energy and the love and the spirit. Sometimes I will say, it's too hot to cook and it's too hot to eat. What do you do when it's too hot to cook and it's too hot to eat? Well, you can go for a swim, you can walk, you can pray, you
Do a little Reiki.
And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do some radio Reiki with our good friends from Brightway Wellness. Michelle Cardenas is here. And in fact, Rianne, you are also a Reiki master. So I have the duality. I have 2 gorgeous Reiki masters who are going to take us in this next segment and help us. I want everybody to understand what Reiki is and why we're doing this, because it's a special kind of modality. When we say modality, it sounds like a software computer program from the late 90s. What does a modality mean when we talk about Reiki?
A form of treatment.
A tool, a treatment,
yeah.
A technique.
And you know what? When you were just talking to me, what Reiki does, most importantly, is help you be present. You have to be in the moment, being, not doing.
So I want you to, so here's the build that we're doing. We're going to get you present. You're going to be present with us. We're going to be present with you. We're all going to get on the same page. And in the next segment, you know what we're going to talk about? Do you know anything about Lemurian code healing?
I do not.
Michelle?
I do not either.
Have you ever done
intrigued.
it?
No.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to tell you about something that truly has transformed my understanding about a lot of things. It impacts my life in ways I could never have imagined. And I've never even been in the same room with the woman that helped me do this. That to me is powerful.
Interesting, yeah.
I know, right?
Very intriguing.
We're going to have one of the world's leading experts on Lemurian code healing on the next segment of the show. But to get ready for her, we have to get ready for her. And we've got to, more than a meditation. We've got to get it all tuned in. And before we even do that, I want to say, Chef, when you're out at Canyon Ranch and you're in the food part, and then the exercise people are doing their thing, and the yoga people are doing their thing, and the equestrian people are doing their thing, it strikes me that you're all doing everybody's thing because everybody's doing with the same spirit, because it's all about the energy of being there, and it's the energy. How do you describe for people what the energy of the Canyon Ranch healing experience is?
Well, the energy is quite incredible, and I'll do my very best to explain, but it is a feeling of peace and tranquility and solidarity, and people coming together from all over the world and actually developing friendships for a lifetime. We have people that have been coming to Canyon Ranch for 26, 30 years, even 40 years, that they come every year at the same time just to meet up with their friends, their Canyon Ranch friends that have become life friends. And there's an energy at Canyon Ranch that is there. It's hard to explain because it's so clean and so energizing and refreshing. Canyon Ranch is able to define an energy what you are relating to at the moment you're there. And then you come in a year later or 2 years later, like most people are coming every year, but they'll come back the next year and they'll have something in their energy that's different from the previous time. Well, that energy is there for them to tap into, whether it's health and healing or medical or how a life transitions. You can transition with Canyon Ranch very fluidly because it's all there.
We're going to go right now into this beautiful space with our friends, Michelle Cardenas from Brightway Wellness and Rianne Maldonado from Shy Moon.
Yes, we're going to do Reiki today.
Radio Reiki.
Radio Reiki. So what I want to do is I want to really focus on the presence of the day, presence of us being is. So wherever you are feeling tension today, whether it's mental, emotional, body, spiritual, I want you to focus in on that space. And when we're doing the Reiki today, Rianne and I are going to be sending Reiki over the radio waves, and we're going to be sending it into this area of tension to bring relief. So we're now sending it, and I want you to imagine that there's breath being entered into this focus of tension. And as you breathe in, you're breathing in the wonderful Reiki energy, which is healing, it's love, it's light. And as you exhale, I want you to release that tension out into the universe so it can be transmuted into something more beautiful. Breathing in the Reiki energy and breathing out anything that no longer serves you. One more time, breathing in the beautiful love and light of the universe. Breathing out all that does not serve you. And that is Reiki, Radio Reiki. I end this session with love and light.
If you want to have a session on a more personal basis, you can reach Michelle Cardenas at Brightway Wellness. Where can people find you?
BrightwayWellness.com or 520-549-4800. Call or text.
We are at the end of our first hour. It flew by, but it always does when we have good food and friends at the table with us. Congratulations to the Maldonados from Black Horse Investigations, reuniting the Purple Heart family. We've got about 10 seconds left, and I want to remind everybody, if you've got to leave us now, please, when you get home today, hug your kids and count your blessings, but we'll be back with more right after this on Around the Table.